man, Chapapa TV's here.
Yo, Profe.
Hey, let me do you a proper introduction, man. Everybody, welcome our special guest, Free from Chapapa TV.
Thank you all. What's going on, everyone?
Yeah, so hey brother, thank you so much, man, for coming back on my channel, man. I really appreciate your knowledge and everything you got to offer, man. So I really appreciate it. So thank you so much, man, coming on my channel, man. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Hey, so what's going on, fam? Talk to me. What's been up?
Man, just had my first New Year's ever in Brazil. It was amazing, different from the past 3 years in the Dominican Republic. It's lovely, man. Just love that Brazil living. I'm not gonna say maybe I should have came here first, but I should have came here sooner as an expat.
Because you spent 3 years, right, in Santiago and Puerto Plata before coming to Brazil.
Yeah, 3 years in the Dominican Republic.
Damn, man. Yeah. So tell me, can you tell me this a little bit? What's the difference of going through that Navidad, Christmas, and going through New Year, and Dominican Republic in comparison to Brazil?
So it's gonna sound crazy. Navidad, 24, they don't celebrate Christmas Day, they celebrate the day before Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Being in Latin America, it was wild, but not as wild as what I'm used to in Dominican Republic and what I'm used to in Colombia. So in DR, when I was going through Navidad, man, streets was packed, the cake factories, lines going out the door, all these balloons, families flying into town, salons are packed, girls getting their nails done, hair done. Big thing. You got to get an outfit for 24. You got to be where you got to be, before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Here is more, in my experience, it was more calm, definitely family oriented. Wasn't a lot of partying going on. There were some businesses that shut down. Other places stayed open. Some restaurants stayed open. This that, but it was different. I like both. I'm not gonna say one's better than the other. For me, DR is cool for those of you guys who are getting into being an expat and you want that energy, you want that vibe, you want to be around the family with the roasted pig and the bachata going on, and they playing you drinking rum. And Brazil was cool. It was a nice refresher after all that. Just really chilling.
Dope. So basically, DR and Brazil, they're different, but one is not better than the other in that sense. As far as New Year and Christmas goes.
Oh no. And New Year's blows DR out the water. Blows it out the water by comparison. Because in DR, especially in Santiago, there's not a lot to do.
Yeah.
Like Santiago, I remember 2 years in a row, I was doing dinner in my apartment and I went up to the roof and they used fireworks. Here in Brazil, people fly to all the beach towns because they have the 7 waves where you stand at the edge of the water and then you jump 7 times, kind of to get ready for the new year as every wave comes. And then the fireworks here is bananas. The parties here are bananas. I'm talking about where you pay so I just went to a party and I paid a cover of 800 reais. And a lot of people were like, yeah, that's a lot for a party. 800 reais is maybe 150. But it was food all night, top shelf liquor all night, from 10 o'clock till 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Breakfast included. So it's
that's like a resort, like an all-inclusive resort for a night.
Yeah, all-inclusive resort, all sprinkled all throughout the city because I'm in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
So that's what it was like.
Okay. Well, you gotta be honest. There's no comparison between Santiago and Sao Paulo. I mean, Sao Paulo is a massive city, and Santiago is just some ain't no comparison, man. Ain't no comparison. But hey, man, before we even get started and get really down to things, let people know who you are, where you're from, and how you ended up in Brazil.
All right, yeah. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Free, aka Chapapa from Chapapa TV. I am a former service member, Army. I'm born and raised in New York. I've been living outside the States. Been living outside the States since 2019. Stopped by Dominican Republic first. When I first left and I went to the DR, I thought that was going to be a place where, like, shit, I'm going to be here for 10 years at least, get myself going. As you're there, you like things just kind of like snowball. Like it's not for everybody. So it ended up not for me. And then I branched out to South America, hit Colombia, stopped by Brazil. Brazil did it for me. It started the YouTube channel out there in Dominican Republic. A lot of information on my channel about those who want to move to the Dominican Republic and for those who need help once you move to the Dominican Republic. So those videos are still up, still doing consultation help for anybody who wants to move to DR, and now consultation help for anybody who wants to move to Brazil. So make sure you guys go check out the channel. You'll
check them out. I got your channel in the description as well. So you good? I got you.
Thank you. Yeah, man. I got everything up there from how to get internet to your home to where to go get cheap lunch. Got everything up there on Chapapa TV related to the Dominican Republic. So make sure you guys go check it out.
And you also got quite a bit. I mean, you still going through your. I mean, you've been there for a while. You've been in Brazil. How long you been there now? 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah. So you've been there for a while, but so I know that you do have some videos on Brazil, but definitely, folks, if you ever want to get any consultations, anything like that, man, check out Chapapa TV. His channel. He has a lot of videos out there for the Dominican Republic, and he's still putting videos out there for Brazil. And I'm sure he has much more to come as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But with that said, man, what made you apply for residency in Brazil? Because I know that a lot of brothers, man, they go to a country, but they'll only do maybe a few months, or maybe they'll be in some sort of like tourist visa, and then they'll extend it, or do a border run, and extend it some more, and then leave. But residency means that, okay, you're actually establishing roots in that country. You are planting roots in that country. So what made you do that there in Brazil?
All right. So me going through residency, right? So like I said earlier, when I first moved out to the DR, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a place. I'm going to be here for 10 years. I opened up a bank account out there. I had a car. I was trying to like get my credit going. So basically, even that I'll talk about on the channel on how to get your lines of credit going for that specific country that you're living in.
Yeah.
With DR, as we all know, they give you like the 30-day visa when you enter the country. And then after 30 days, you pay your overstay fee. But there's not really any pressure to leave the Dominican Republic. So when I first moved there, I went on a one-way flight, no residency. I didn't leave till like a year later, and my exit fee was like 5,000 pesos, right? I have a friend named Alex. He stayed there for 10 years. When he left after the first time 10 years, his exit fee was $1,000. And then
10 years?
Yeah, 10 years. And then there's no slap on the wrist. There's no ban. It's like, all right, yo, hurry up and come back and overstay again. Now, when we get to South America, like Colombia and Brazil, that's one thing I want to say that the DR is a little bit more. They're a little bit more catered toward tourism. So like they'll invite you to like want to overstay, right? As far as Colombia and Brazil, you only get 180 calendar days out of the year, and then you have to leave and you have to wait 6 months till you can come back, right? Now, as an expat, that's gonna suck, right? You pack up all your stuff, you get this one-way flight, you move to Colombia or Brazil or wherever, and then you're like, damn, I'm living life here for 6 months, but then what am I gonna do for another 6 months till I could come back? For me, I didn't want that stress. I didn't want that headache. I applied for residency in the Dominican Republic. I applied because I wanted my cedula. I wanted to be able to get my own, line of credit, like, my own loans,
Yes.
Because when you could prove your income, veterans out there in the Dominican Republic, and then you have something going on for you, like a bank account or any type of phone or internet bill running your name, that helps you out a lot. So we all know things are overpriced over there in terms of cars. So if you want to get a car, you go to your bank. For me, example, I had Asociación Cibao. You go there, you get your bank stuff, and you get your movements. They call it movimientos, and then from there you get. I applied in DR. I didn't get it till this day. I like lost $3,000. I started off from the consulate in New York, and then once I got down to the Dominican Republic, I had this lawyer. She ain't do shit for me. Excuse my language. She ain't do nothing. Paid her till this day. Still didn't get a phone call like, hey, appointment this, appointment that. Russell either. Russell went through the same stuff. So it's hard out there to find a really good, trustworthy lawyer for those of you who are thinking about starting the residency process. I'll even go as far to say you don't need to do the residency process. Don't drop that bread. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't go through a lawyer, so I did it myself. But $3,000, man, and she ain't give you a call back or nothing. Man, that's rough, man.
I spent $2,000 on getting documents alone and application, all that stuff.
Apostles and all that. Yeah.
And $1,000 to go to the lawyer just for her to do my little paper. All she did was, man, she didn't do nothing. Still didn't get a call back to this day.
Man, I mean, I don't know what DR laws are. I don't know if you can put a name out there, but man, that's rough, man. I'll
put the name out there. The video's still up there on the channel because when I talk about
I know
she was on the channel. Her name is like Rosa.
I know which one it is.
She was on the channel. So what y'all learn about me on the channel, like, yo, I take my L's. I took a lot of L's in the Dominican Republic, but I come online and I share it with folks so you guys don't take the same L's. It'll be impossible for you to take the same L's as me if you watch Chapapa TV. Impossible.
I do second that, and honestly, after watching you and a couple of other folks use a lawyer, I actually was going to go that route. But when I realized that a lot of folks do it themselves, I did it myself. It's a headache. You can do it, but you got to have the time. And some folks don't have the time because they're working. Maybe they got a remote job and they can't be taking off, every other day to be on top of that. But yeah, man, my bad, man. That sucks, man.
Yeah, me.
That's
I just wanted to avoid the politics. So I'm like, yo, if I can have somebody take care of all that political stuff, the waiting line, doing this and that, the headaches, I'm like, fine, so be it. But
I can tell you this though, it is more complicated when you come here to DR and then you start the process from DR and you start at the consulate. That's the right way, and that's the way where it's streamlined. That way, it should be easier that way. But when people do it after being here, and then they have to like go back to do fingerprints and all that stuff, it does create things be more complicated because it's not set up to be that way. But still, man, people shouldn't be taking your money and not answering your phone calls, man. That's rough. But
it happens, man. There's a lot of lawyer horror stories coming out the DR, bro. A lot of crazy horror stories.
Yeah. And gracias a Dios, I haven't had any that experience yet, and I hope to not have that experience, while I'm still here. But let me see. So tell me, man, like, what did you get a lawyer to do the residency process in Brazil, or did you do it yourself?
So what I did was I went in the Brazilian expat group on Facebook and I asked like, hey, any veterans here or anybody that knows the process for getting residency, because I didn't want to do that 180 in, 180 out. And then that's when I came across Mike. So Mike is an Australian that lives here in Brazil. He's been here about 8 years and he's married to a Brazilian woman. And they basically have this firm going on when they help all types of foreigners, with residency, with extending their visas, with applying and all that stuff. So then me and Mike, when I first met Mike, we had like this video call. The video call was free. We sat down. He told me exactly what I need. I told him like, okay, how I would qualify. Cause I'm like, listen, I qualified for residency through my VA disability from DR and from Colombia, and I want to use the same from Brazil. So he told me what I needed. So I had to go get the FBI background report done again. I had to get all the things that I had apostilled and notarized before done again. And then I did that when I was in the States in June. Sent that all to him, and then from then on, I've been in Brazil. So I didn't go. So I made sure I handled everything in the States first, like in terms of paperwork, before I came back to Brazil. Cause I didn't want to do the back and forth. And then come October, he was like, "Listen, we have all your documents. I got this whole stack right here." He's like, "Listen, we have all your documents. Everything is translated, and we're ready to submit to the Policia Federal, because the Policia Federal is where you do everything." So that was October. He's like, "Listen, if you're gonna leave now, and I won't submit. I'll submit it when you come back." Right? So that way, because it takes like 30 days, 45 days for them to call you, and you go on for your appointment. You do your picture, all that. So I have to go back to the States in October for my daughter's birthday, and then I stopped by DR for the Bad Bunny concert. And once I got back to Brazil, they submitted.
Okay.
And in December, like end of December, I got the phone call like, "Hey, we're ready to go to Policia Federal." Went over there, they took my picture, gave me my number, told what type of visa I had, and then basically now I'm good to stay. I don't have to do that exit 180 days. I can now open a bank account, because opening a bank account here is harder than opening a bank account in the Dominican Republic. All you gotta do is in the Dominican Republic is bring your passport and be within 30 days of your visa stamp.
Exactly.
But here it's a lot harder. You need something called protocol or RNM number. You need it to get a phone plan. You need it to get a bank account. So you're very limited in Brazil if you don't have a CPF.
Yeah, the CPF number. So the CPF number, in order to get that, you got to actually have your residency?
No. So you can get your CPF number with just your passport. When I first I got my CPF number with just my passport.
Okay. Yeah, because I know being in Brazil, man, to do anything, they ask for a CPF number. Like, you can't do anything without a CPF number.
Yeah, it's very hard. And it helps also. I would recommend it for somebody who's going to spend a lot of time in Brazil, get a CPF number. Because CPF is also how they help you helps you build your line of credit.
Okay. All right. Man, I got so many questions. You just opened the doors up just now. I got so many questions now that I didn't even have ready to ask you. But I do want to ask you this. Which residency did you program did you apply under? Because I know that Brazil has quite a few.
Yeah, so I applied as a veteran. I applied for residency by means of retirement. So as a veteran, if you're a disabled veteran, 80%, 100%, in most of these countries, especially the Latin American countries, you could qualify for a retirement visa.
All right, brother, I got two questions now. There's no retirement age, because I know a lot of countries have a retirement age for the retirement residency. So Brazil, no retirement age.
Nah, no retirement age. Well, I was 27 when I applied for the DR residency. I was 27. There's no age.
You also mentioned Colombia just a while ago. You applied for residency in Colombia?
I was in talks with a lawyer to go apply. So I was actually going to move to Colombia before I went to Brazil. And I stumbled upon Brazil, and then Colombia just took a back burner. So that's what happened. But I was
gotcha. All right. Yeah. Okay. So the reason why I bring up Colombia is because I know in Colombia right now, because they've recently changed their whole visa requirements and process back in October. So right now in Colombia, for the migrant residency, which is what retirement falls under, they're making it harder for disabled vets to qualify. Why is that? Because now they require a medical portion. You got to go through a medical process. So if you present that VA disability award letter, if you are 60% or above, This is from what I'm hearing from a guy that works with immigration. They are automatically going to disqualify you. Automatic. 6% above, automatic disqualification. Also, if you have any issues with PTSD, anxiety, or depression, automatic disqualification. So for your process in Brazil, was your medical background scrutinized at all?
That's why I'm shocked hearing this. That didn't happen for me in DR. It happened here in Brazil. I'm like, why is Colombia?
No. It didn't happen for me. In DR I didn't use it, but I know in Colombia this is a recent change because before and in Colombia the migrant visa is like the residency visa, right? It's where basically if you had a remote job and you earn so much money, you can get the migrant visa as a residency visa. It's more like a not digital nomad, but like a person who can a rentista. It's like a rentista, that type of visa. But now they changed it back in October, so now that qualifies as a visitor visa. So a visitor visa doesn't lead to residency. It's more like you're like basically a long-term tourist, right? So if you were a student, you'd be a long-term tourist. If you were a rentista, you're just a long-time tourist. So they changed it to where now the only way you can qualify for the migrant visa, migrant residency, is if you had Colombian ancestry, you married a Colombian, or you got a job in Colombia, or if you retired. But a lot of folks, like ourselves, who are military veterans, they get that VA disability. They use that award letter as proof of income, and now that is being scrutinized by Colombian immigration. Now,
that's tough, Profe. That's tough because, man, vets don't go down there and don't bother nobody. I know a few vets that live out there. A few vet-owned businesses. If anything, they're helping them.
Exactly. So if you own a business, you got to show that your business earns so much in order to qualify for that migrant visa, right? So man, they just made it harder back in October. They made it harder for a lot of folks to get residency there. That's all. So I found it to be interesting that they're going through that, but I've not heard any other country doing that. Not Brazil, not DR. I was looking at Ecuador for a while. Ecuador didn't have any issue with that. So yeah, man.
Hey,
that's crazy.
South America is huge, fellas. Listen, if it ain't Colombia, it's Brazil. You got Peru, you got Ecuador, you got Argentina, you got all these other countries where the dollar is powerful.
Yes, and I want to piggyback on what you just said, man. That VA disability rating. I don't know the scale, but I think about if you get like at least $2,000 in some of these countries. No, most of these countries, $2,000 you can get a retirement visa. Or if they don't have, if you don't, some places are even lower than that. I know Ecuador is $1,350. So, and Costa Rica is 1,000. So some of these countries it's really, really low, and you can get a retirement visa. And if you don't have some countries, if they have a age requirement for the retirement visa, you can at least get that rentista visa, which would allow you to get residency and allow you to establish a life there, etc. So if you are in the U.S. and you're trying to get by with being 80% or being 100%, and you're making it hard to make ends meet, leave the country. Go to Brazil. Go to Dominican Republic, and you'll live like a king or queen. For real.
A lot of veterans out there in Thailand.
Yeah, but in Thailand, you're not getting a residency visa in Thailand. In Thailand, you're just getting they got some sort of visa. They got quite a few visas though, but not a residency visa to where you actually going to be working your way towards being Thai.
Okay.
But a lot of folks don't want that anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
So, Prof, I got a question for you. How would you feel about vets hearing this now and would just decide to get married for their visas in any of these countries?
No, don't do that. There's too many options. Don't get married for a visa. No, don't do that. But if you are really in love and all that stuff, and you really want to settle down and all that, I mean, do it. But I'm married, right? I'm married. I'm married to a Dominican. I'm not gonna say I wish I didn't marry a Dominican because look, I love my wife. We good. We got a good thing going, and we're doing a lot of good stuff. I would not, even me saying that, I would not recommend anyone getting married unless they're really, really, really serious about it. And definitely don't do it for no papers, because a lot of these countries out here, man, you don't need that to get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I answered your question.
Now, and I asked because it's the allure of getting married can attract a lot of people. Because, like you said, if you're truly in love and you marry somebody, there's a plus. You know, I think in some countries it'll take up to 5 years for you to have your own passport from that country. You know, you'd get to do a lot of things even you couldn't do on a retirement visa or residency visa. But you just gotta make sure, like, you doing it for the right reasons. Of course, it's for you. Because I know there's some folks. I came across one person out there. He did a contract marriage with a Brazilian. So he was like, "Listen, you marry me on paper, and I'll cover, your rent, your expenses for X amount of months."
That's dope. Okay. Mm-hmm. That works. That works.
But it don't work for everybody because you got some clowns that'll go to Sasua or the Clock Tower red light district, pick up the first joint smoking, and then they in the court tomorrow morning getting married. So it don't work for everybody.
Nah. You gotta think that process through, man, because just like folks do it for the US. You know what happens. I mean, you don't want to, put their names out there and like that, but it happens in the US all the time. People, have those contract marriages so they can get their green card and all that. And I can see that working in Brazil with some of these other countries as well. In the Dominican Republic, for example, man, all you need is 2 years of marriage with a Dominican. 2 years of marriage with a Dominican and 6 months with a residency. And you can apply for naturalization. Mm-hmm. That's it.
But it could backfire on you if you're with the wrong one, because after that 2 years, she entitled to 50 or all of your shit.
Well, if you ain't got shit, it ain't gonna be shit.
Hey, don't test them. I've seen chicks clear out furnished apartments that even belong to the dude.
Man.
Don't test them.
I see. I know where you're going, and that's not true, man. But also too, man. One thing is, if you got a lot, man, they can take 50%. And that's how it is work. At least it's not like the U.S., man. Well, in the U.S., depending on the situation, man, they can take everything, right? But here, it's all 50-50. They don't. That's how they work here in DR. It's 50-50. But again, if you ain't got shit, I mean, 50% of zero is zero. You know what I'm saying? But what was I, man? So I wanted to get back to a few comments you made in Brazil. So Brazil, when you get your residency, you also get a settler, right? You get a settler?
Yeah. So this becomes So this is what they gave me now, just in case I want to go and start doing stuff early. But this becomes an ID card about probably the end of the month. It'll be ready.
Okay, good. So you got a settler. And what a settler is basically the same, it's like having a settler here in DR, where you basically need that to do pretty much anything.
Yeah, so now I could go to the banks, the good banks, where I could get my movements going in my account, start building my Brazilian line of credit. Now I could start getting utilities in my name. I could start looking for apartments in my name because it was hard. It's hard to like look for an apartment with just your passport, and it's hard to get utilities in your name just your passport if you don't know.
Okay.
So right now the internet in this apartment that I'm renting is not in my name. It's in Mike's name. Helping my residency. It's his name. Because when I try to get in my name, it's like, you don't have your protocol, you don't have your RNM on your passport, we can't give it to you. Same as a phone plan. But now that I have this, now that I don't have to leave the country in and out, I believe even if I came in through the border, like by bus or by car, I wouldn't even have to show my American passport. I could just show this ID.
You can show your resident, and that's because Brazil is part of Mercosur, so you can actually go to Uruguay and Argentina and these countries with just your settler. That's it.
Yep.
That's dope. And will you be a permanent residency or a temporary resident?
So the first time is for 2 years, and then after that you reapply. I think, like you said, you hit a certain amount of years, and then you could apply for. You could naturalize yourself.
Now, is permanent residency, is that indefinite or does that expire?
So this card would expire in 2 years, and after that, I just have to go to the Policia Federal, get a good conduct report, and they'll extend it again.
Okay, they'll extend it again. Okay, gotcha. Okay. And is there a Portuguese requirement that you know of to do this process? Like, do you have some Portuguese to get your residency?
Nah, bro. When I started the process, my Portuguese was terrible. All I know was oi and todo bem. My Portuguese was terrible. They didn't ask me nothing about Portuguese.
But you can understand some stuff because it's very similar to Spanish. So some stuff you can understand.
Yes, some of the stuff I can understand, but it's definitely a huge step from Spanish.
Yeah.
There's no Portuguese is no joke.
Yeah. So with that said, your day-to-day operations, dealing with the banks, dealing with businesses, or setting up if you had to set up your phone or internet and renting an apartment, how much Portuguese does one need to know for all that? Or do they need to know Portuguese at all?
All right. So for me, I got very lucky when I found my apartment because the agent I found, he's from Peru, so he spoke Spanish. So I was able to communicate with him, and then he was able to communicate with the owners. My experience now, going out and about trying to handle things, I can hold a conversation in Portuguese. I can get my point across. And depending if you are in Brazil, you may find some people who speak a little bit of English or some English, especially in like the big businesses or the malls, things like that. So it all depends I think it depends on where you are in Brazil.
Okay. Hey, so going back to the residency process, off the top of your head, what documents do you need, or did you need in your case?
Okay, so I needed my birth certificate. I needed a VA letter. I needed all the visa stamps in my passport.
Okay.
What else did I need? I have this. I needed an FBI background check. And that had to be possible. Yeah. So this is my FBI background report right here. Needed that. Everything had to be apostilled and notarized, and that was about it. And then they handled the rest. Like I really didn't sit down and look through this, but there's documents in here that I didn't even lay eyes on, but the lights kind of bright. I didn't even lay eyes on, but the people handled it for me. And then I really did this folder the same day I went to go take my picture and everything, and then I was just good to go. But definitely original birth certificate is important.
Does it have to be within a certain time frame? Within a certain time frame?
No, as long as it's not cut off or whatever. So this is my birth certificate, right? Original birth certificate, the full thing. I remember when I was doing the DR, I had to go to Manhattan to get like an original copy, and so it has to be original birth certificate.
Gotcha. All right. When you got the lawyer there, or the firm that helped you out with this process, was it expensive? And how was the customer service?
So customer service to me, without me getting not counting the documents, I would say it cost me around $2,000. But customer service was 11 out of 10. Mike and his wife, they communicated with me each step of the way. It was really like, hey, just get me these papers. They even have someone that apostles and notarizes. So he's like, listen, just get these papers, the originals, send them off to this address, fly to Brazil, and then just leave the rest to us. So they
Well, my bad. I mean to cut you off, man. But do me a favor before we get off, man. Can you pass me the information? Because I want to make sure the information is attached to this video, just in case someone watches this and they are interested in going through the process.
Yeah, I got you. I'll send you that through WhatsApp.
All right, cool. But yeah, so they were with you every step of the way.
Yeah, every step of the way. Whenever I had to go, listen, it was up to a point where I had to renew my tourist visa, because you get to renew it every 90 days.
Yeah.
I renewed my tourist visa. It was up to the point even his wife came with me, spoke. I didn't have to say a single word. All I had to do was show up, bring my passport, and she took care of everything. And then boom, they renewed my visa for another 90 days. And I didn't even have to pay for it. Man. Yeah, it's really dope. Really dope, really good customer service.
That customer service here in DR, man, is far.
It's difficult. It's foreign. We could be honest, it's foreign.
I don't want to say that, because I live amongst Dominicans, but I can tell you that not a lot of Dominicans have good customer service or don't understand the value of good customer service. So, I mean, I experienced that today, working with Banco Popular. This customer service I thought all this time, I thought Banco Popular had better customer service because Banco Becker de Leon does not have the best customer service. So I thought, hey, I've been working with Banco Popular. They're way better. Man, they're not much better than Banco Becker de Leon. Just put it out there. So customer service is lacking in many different areas here.
Yeah, way lacking.
But and that's something else I want to talk to you about. So outside of this process, are you finding that customer service in other areas of Brazil, is it good? Is it like, whether you're at a restaurant or whether you're at the phone shop or supermarket, wherever you are, do you find that the customer service there is much better than what you have experienced in Brazil? I mean, in the Dominican Republic?
It's definitely better. There will be some places you'll have the wait time, but just like, for example, you could go to the bank and nobody will acknowledge you, or it kind of seems like there's no order or whatever. But here, in terms of restaurant, try to get things done. Even if I want to go to the store and I buy a shirt, there's always somebody around asking like, hey, do you need help? Or yeah, dressing rooms over here, or this and that. Especially the store goes. I went to a Ralph Lauren store out here in Sao Paulo last week, and then they're like on you from the door, like, hey, how you doing? Welcome. What can we help you with today? And then they carry your bag to the door for you as you leave. So customer service, in my experience in Latin America, here got it.
I want to second that.
It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than what I've experienced.
I had that same experience when I was in Brazil. When I was in Rio, I went to a mall. I went to many malls, and my wife, she was buying a few things, and those ladies in their high heels held the bags, and they walked the bags as we were leaving to the exit with us, and I found it to be very strange. You would never see that in DR. Like, people don't go over beyond for customer service that often. And if they do, they're looking for a tip.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And store, they'll ask you like, "Hey, do you want water? Do you want coffee? Do you want juice?" They'll bring things out on a nice tray for you.
You know what? The only place I've seen that in DR, man, is the third party VA clinic, man. They go over and beyond to make sure you're good because they want you to come back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, shout out to the veteran clinics in DR doing their thing, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
You just mentioned it. How the third party could treat you better than the main party.
Yeah, exactly. And still, you've been there 6 months, man. Still, you haven't seen any sort of like third party clinics there in Brazil.
I haven't seen yet, and I'm going to do the same thing I did when I was in Dominican Republic. When I was in DR, I had health insurance. I had Universal first, and I had Mono. So I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm talking to Alan from MedVets in Puerto Plata to try to get something going on down here. I'm trying somebody talk to him or maybe somebody at iWellness. Brazil is untouched. Yeah. Well, South America is untouched when it third-party VA clinics, and there's veterans here.
Yeah, imagine you had that one going in Rio, one going over there in Sao Paulo, and some other places, man. I mean, I can see it really thriving in Brazil, man.
Oh, what?
Really thriving in Brazil.
Folks don't see me now. Like, folks would really not see me in Brazil at a VA clinic.
Exactly. But hey, man, that's pretty much it, man. I really wanted you to touch on that process because I don't know if you know this, man. You are the first person that I've seen that actually go through the process using your VA disability as your proof of passive income to get a residency in Brazil. Most folks tend to use the either, if not retirement from a pension, because they've been working, 50 years, or the marriage thing. I've seen that a lot, but no one has done what you've done and really like put it out there. So I want to let you know, man, you need to share that story, let folks know, because we need folks to get on that, man, because it's a really amazing thing to have that VA benefits award letter and be able to go to these countries and use that to get a residency, man. A lot of folks aren't really. I don't think a lot of folks are really taking advantage of that. It really is a privilege.
Yeah, and they need to stop being scared of that too. A lot of folks use the excuse, the VA here in the States. You have clinics that do, if not a better job than the clinic stateside, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm 50%, 60%. Listen, shout out to my brother Jorge. And when I met this guy, I think he was at 10%. VA disability.
Yeah.
Stayed in the ER the whole time, going to the clinics, going to his doctor's appointments. Now he had 90.
That's what's up, man. Congrats to Jorge.
Yeah, man. Without having to step a foot in the States. So, Profe, imagine you at the beach in Samaná and or you at Plata, or you at a restaurant in Santo Domingo, and then you're like, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna go to my VA appointment, and you're not hopping on a plane. Yeah. Can you imagine going to Samaná? You have a VA appointment on a Friday, and you're like, I'm gonna drive up to Samaná for the weekend. That's beautiful.
It's dope, man. It is. People don't understand the beauty of that, man. It's beautiful, man. And on top of that, even if like a place like Brazil doesn't have those third-party clinics like they have all over the place here in DR, at least you may find a place where you'll find a hospital, for example, where they'll say, okay, we'll take care of your service-connected conditions, but we won't charge you up front. We'll just make the claim and send it to the U.S., to the VA, and get our refund that way. You will find places that do that. Places that do that. So it's just a matter of communicating with the hospital, the right people. That way you don't have to put so much money out front and paying for all this stuff and waiting on that refund to come back in a month or two. So yeah, it's possible.
And healthcare is great in Brazil. The hospitals are free. Free hospitals. Healthcare is great in Brazil. Brazil all the time. Like, you know, you go to a hospital and there's hospitals where they will treat you. I forgot the name of it. They will treat you. Obviously, you know, you could go to some private hospitals with your private insurance, but folks are like, you know, it's not really much of a difference. You'll still get treated.
I hear for the public, the wait times are very long.
Yeah, you know, for the public, the wait times are very different for the public.
Yeah, but from what I heard in my research, the private hospitals in Brazil, you have that private insurance. You have a 10 o'clock appointment. You are seen at 10 o'clock. It's not like here in DR. You got a 10 o'clock appointment. You get seen at 1 o'clock.
Oh.
And that's with private insurance.
Oh my. What am I paying top dollar for this insurance for? Ain't no top.
Yeah, exactly.
Still paying for the consultations. 1,000, 1,500 pesos.
Exactly. I'm telling you, hey, Free. I don't know if I shared this with you, man, but I'm leaving DR, man. I'm leaving DR. I'm gonna be out of here probably. I say before May gets here, I'm leaving. Where am I going? I haven't decided 100% yet. But I'll probably be going to Mexico. I'll probably be in Mexico for the next couple of years.
Okay. Yeah. What part of Mexico?
Why Mexico? Puebla, which is a big city just outside of Mexico City.
Okay.
And I don't know if you heard of Mexico City in recently, man. Mexico City has transformed. It's basically like the New York, like basically they got a district there. It's basically like just like Manhattan and Mexico City. And Mexico City has a lot going on, man. Puebla, which is a big city right outside of Mexico City, it has its own thing, man. Mexico is cheaper, not much cheaper than DR, but it's cheaper in DR. Products are much cheaper in DR. Services may be a little more expensive, but products are much cheaper. You'll find that they have everything there. It's not like DR. DR doesn't really have everything. Santo Domingo is a decent. It's a big city, but it's not on the scale of Mexico City. You know what I'm saying? Right. Mexico has everything as far as like beaches, mountains, desert. It has everything. Food is good too. But for me, one of the big reasons why I want to go is they have a permanent residency that does not expire. So once you get that permanent residency, you have that permanent residency for the rest of your life. You don't have to step foot in Mexico. Like you don't have to step foot like every 5 years or something, every 6 years, something like that.
Another thing is you're going to be avoiding a lot of importation fees.
Yes, because of that free trade agreement with Canada and the United States. My boy smart. Yeah.
We avoid a lot of that. So I want to ask you, how do you think this is going to be in a few years? Because I remember at the end of last year reading this article where a lot of people are flocking down to Mexico with remote jobs.
Mexico's true. A lot of people are flocking to Mexico. Mexico is huge. So it's not like DR. If DR had 2 million Americans move to DR would be a different country. Right? It'd be a totally different country. 2 million Americans moving to Mexico, it's still Mexico. You see what I'm saying? Because Mexico is a huge country. Mexico is like the 5th most populous country the 6th most populous country in the world. Outside of China, India, the United States, Indonesia, Brazil, then Mexico, right? So Mexico has a lot of people. So what you probably referring to is Mexico City. Yes, people have been flocking to like these Soho type areas of Mexico City, to where yes, the rent has gone up, and a lot of Americans, a lot of foreigners live in that particular district. But outside of that, it has not really affected Mexico because Mexico was I mean, a few people, a few Americans moving there, a few Canadians moving there, just a drop in the bucket because it's just so big. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you have a lot of folks like moving to a particular district, yeah, that'll probably cause what's some xenophobia, which is what's happening in Portugal, where you have so many foreigners moving to Portugal because Portugal had this like really open and easy to get residency program or fast track citizenship program. A lot of Portuguese are basically like making foreigners feel unwanted because they don't want foreigners there because they're just driving up the prices and making it harder for them to get by.
Yeah, I feel
and
that.
Portugal was a very small country.
Yeah, I feel that's why I like when we go to these countries. I like to go to the obvious place. Like put me on the outskirts. Like I'll blend in. You know.
Yeah.
I like those low prices. Not a lot of tourism. Not a lot of foreigners. So that's why I chose Sao Paulo.
Yeah, and I think that's why the good things about the bigger countries, bigger emerging countries like Brazil, like Mexico, you can even throw Colombia in there because they're so big and they're emerging that not only could you go there and take advantage of the economy that's low cost of living, but you can grow with it. If you want to open a business, those are like great places to open a business because those economies are growing, and pretty soon those economies in those countries are going to be bigger than those economies in those small European countries like Germany or the UK or France. You know what I'm saying? Because these countries are taking over, man. And pretty soon you'll have Brazil will have a higher population than the United States. Well, or close to it. So, yeah, man. Even though the United States is a great place to go to make your money, like the world is not going to be revolving around the United States and Europe in the future. Like in the near future, that those tides are going to be changing towards the developing world. Towards your Chinas and your Indias and your Indonesias and your Brazils and Mexicos. So there it is.
I want to ask you what brought about this. So I assume you're going with the wife. So what brought about this change to move from the DR?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you this. DR is cool. It's cool, but it has its limits, man. I really want to live in more than one country. The biggest thing is I want to live in more than one country. At some point, man, I want to live 3 months in DR, and 3 months in like Brazil, and 3 months in Mexico, maybe 3 months in Colombia. You know what I'm saying? And just like rotate like that. That's what I want to do at some point. So I guess the best way to do it is to plant roots in all those countries. Mm-hmm. So I want to start planting those roots. So that way, maybe in 6 years or in 10 years, I have permanent residency and or citizenship in all these countries, and I can basically split my time in the mountains, in the cold mountains of Mexico or cold mountains of Colombia, and then be in a hot ass Santo Domingo or hot ass Rio de Janeiro, for like the other part of the year. You know what I'm saying? So that's sort of what I want to do, and I want to be able to share that experience. My wife, but also I got a daughter, so I want her to be able to take advantage of that, maybe even get a second residency or a third residency or a third citizenship, fourth citizenship through my citizenship or naturalization process or residency process that I'm going to be going through within all these countries. That way, my daughter will have options. You know what I'm saying? And then when she have kids, those kids will have options. You're going to be American, but you're also going to be French. You're also going to be Mexican. You're also going to be Brazilian. You're also going to be Dominican. And I feel like what better gift I can get to my child, just in case this world turns sideways. She's going to have all these passports, and she's not going to be stuck in one country.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the main reason.
Man, there's so many people I know on a personal level. I wish thought like you and move like you is gonna be very beautiful to see. Congratulations,
bro. Thanks, brother. But brother, you still young. I'm 37. You what, 30? So you still young. You can still get out there and do what you want to do, and you're doing it. Hey, man, how many 30-year-old brothers you can say that have lived 3 years in a foreign country and now I'm going on 1 year in another country? Not a lot. Not a lot.
Thank you, bro.
Not a lot of brothers want to be taking that step, man. So congrats to you for taking that step and being that example for all those other folks out there. Because you're the blueprint, man. You are 26 years old, and you moved out of the country. You moved to DR by yourself. That's huge, man. That's huge. So, have you gotten a car out there yet?
Nah.
Are you planning on getting a car soon?
I don't think I plan on getting a car because when I had I think first thing I'll probably do maybe this year is, especially now that I have my residency, I'll probably furnish my own place.
Okay.
I'll furnish my own place, have rent go down some. And then as far as the car, Uber's been good. Uber's been cheap. So there hasn't really been a need for me to have a car like that.
Okay.
I don't see one coming anytime soon, unless I have my bank stuff going down here, my Brazilian credit, all that stuff. And I want to go out and get a car. But as far as that, every time I go out, it's like I go out to a bar, or I could walk to the mall from my house. But as far as a car, maybe to drive to the beach, but Uber is great out here.
So I'm sure you know this. I want to make sure folks watching knows this. Cars in DR are very expensive. Yep. So a car that may cost $10,000 in the States will cost $20,000 in DR with 200,000 miles. It's ridiculous. Least. And if it's a Honda CRV, it can have 300,000 miles, and that car is going to be sold as if it was brand new.
For ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It could be 2014. The worst Carfax ever. They edit Carfax too. Make sure you guys. I even have a car buying process in the Dominican Republic. Make sure you guys do your own Carfax research if you're going to move to DR, buy your own car, because they can edit the Carfax. Yeah,
and don't let them sweet talk you. Clean Carfax. Clean Carfax. The Dominicans, clean Carfax. Nah, man. Nah. But in Brazil, fortunately, they manufacture cars there. They have many Chinese companies got manufactured cars there. I believe they have Volkswagen out there. They have
Renault.
They have a lot of
Mercedes. They have Nissan. They do manufacture their own cars out here. Hyundai.
So what that said is cars should be cheaper, right? Just like Mexico manufacture cars. Cars should be cheaper in Brazil. So I would assume that even if you were to do that, there is a cheaper avenue of doing that in comparison to the Dominican Republic, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. 1,000%.
I do want to ask you this, because you are established in the financial system in Brazil. Do you know the process of if someone wanted to finance a car or finance a home? Do you have an idea of that process, what you would need, and all of that to go through that process?
So definitely, if you're gonna buy out cash, and they say don't buy out cash, but if you're gonna buy out cash, I believe you can do it with just a passport, because that's another residency that you can apply for. Residency by form of
investment. Yeah.
So you can't do that. It wouldn't be too hard, but it doesn't give you the naturalization, I believe. I'm mistaken. Let me say you Mike's number right now, so you can have that in the description before we.
Thank you. Because someone's going to ask me. So I like to have that there before they get to that. Because you know what, for me, I'm actually considering Brazil after my next few years that I plan on spending in Mexico. So I'm actually considering Brazil.
Okay, bro, I love it.
Right now,
next month is Carnival, so I'm planning to shoot up to Salvador for Carnival because everybody's like, listen, you want to do Carnival correctly in Brazil, you got to go to Salvador. So I'm planning to do that, and next week I'm going to Ilha Bela. It's a little island off the coast of Sao Paulo.
Okay.
And Brazil is untouched. That's why sometimes on the channel, like I share, but I'm not sure. I'm like, damn, you know, like when something's like so pure, untouched, you're like, no, let me just stay quiet about this. But it's
because Brazil was big, man. Brazil is almost the same size as the United States. So there's so much in Brazil. And I feel like there's so much to explore in Brazil. And a lot of folks, they tend to just check out Rio, and they don't tend to check out like other parts of Brazil. But man, Brazil was huge. But I feel like because I don't speak Portuguese, I feel like maybe my experience would be limited because I don't speak Portuguese. And that 2 weeks that I had when I was there, you could get by with Spanish, and some folks do speak a little bit of English. But I just felt like for me, because I know Spanish, it just felt like I'd be limiting my I don't know, my quality of experience there. What do you say about that?
Having Portuguese will definitely enhance your experience here.
Yeah.
But you know, you can get away with English in some places. It may help you out, you know, depending who you are. Like, so if you're a single traveling man, and you know you go to talk to somebody with English, it may work out in your favor because now they're going to be curious. I've raised a lot of curiosity here in Sao Paulo. They're like, wait, you're a Black American in Brazil? You live here? Really? So
that's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Definitely works.
That's good, and that's good, man. It's good to build that curiosity when you out here in this world, man.
Any country,
I met quite a few folks. Go ahead.
Any country you live in, knowing the language is always a plus, always a positive.
Yeah. And I feel like if you know Spanish, you basically good in Latin America, man, because there's so many countries to choose from just by knowing Spanish. And knowing Portuguese is still good because Brazil, you know, represents a lot of people in Latin America. You know, the majority of people in Latin America speak Spanish, but Brazil was the largest country in Latin America with the most Portuguese speakers, and is the largest economy. Brazil has a lot going for itself. And I feel like if you are sleeping on Brazil, you are really sleeping on a huge part of the region. So definitely check out Brazil. Check out my man Frank from Chapapa TV because he does consultations. He has a lot of information. And look, man, this brother got his residency. He got his residency. So if he got his residency, you know, that means he went through some shit to get that. You know, they don't give that out. You know, you got to go through it to get that. And I want to make sure I understand this perfectly. You did not start the process in the United States. You actually started the process in Brazil.
Yes. So the only thing that I got done was in the United States was I did my FBI report, the fingerprints.
The fingerprinting.
And then I emailed off my VA letter to Mike, and then that was it. You know, I didn't do anything else. The birth certificate and FBI report. Once I got the FBI report, I mailed that off to Mike, and then I hopped on a plane to Brazil. So it was definitely a little bit easier than the process with Dominican Republic.
Damn, man. Yeah, and that seems pretty easy. And the fact that it didn't take that long, I feel like that whole process where you mailed everything off in June, correct?
Yeah.
and then you got that
July.
And then you got that yellow folder when? When did you get that yellow folder? In October?
Like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So
yeah.
July, December, you know, and also within that time, he already had your folder ready. He just sat on it because you had to go do some more traveling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it could have been quicker than that.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Good. So there you have it. There you have it, man. That's less than 6 months to get your residency using the retirement residency program, using your VA benefits letter. The required amount is what, $2,000 a month?
I believe it's $1,200. But it's $1,200. But you know, even if you 70, all my veterans watching right now, if you 70, 80%, you know, we just got that little pay raise. So that little pay raise been put you over the hump.
Yeah.
So I'm running out of excuses.
Yes, you are, man. Damn, brother. Hey, man, but that's all I got, man. I don't want to keep you, man, but I appreciate you sharing that vital information, man, because getting a residency now is a lot easier, especially when you are a veteran and you have those that veteran benefits letter. I say if you are above 60%, you are at least getting $1,000 at least. So that would definitely help you with some countries, and the more you go up, the easier it would get. So definitely, if you're at home in the United States right now, you are sitting on the couch with the shirt off and your belly hanging out, eating a bowl of ice cream, and you're watching this video, and you see that background of Chapapa TV in the background with the skyscrapers and city lights and the palm trees and all that snow. It's dark right now. That can be you too. You know, all you got to do is present that VA benefits letter and get all your documents together, get it to the right person, you know, pay a little fee, and you can have your residency and be living in paradise.
Yeah, and bro, I'll go as far to say you don't have to be 100% to leave the States, right?
No, you don't. You don't.
You could be 60. I'll give you guys this gem, right? If you want to leave immediately and you're like 60, 70%, even 80, go to the Dominican Republic first. Go to the DR first. Start working with the third-party clinics. You know, you got a good one in Puerto Plata, MedVets. You got a good one in Santiago, iWellness. Build up your rating from there.
Well vet in Santiago and Santo Domingo. But go ahead.
Yep. Build up your rating from there while you're in a country where you feel better than how you were stateside. And then after that, after you're happy with your rating or you get that PNT, then you can branch out. I've literally watched one veteran go from 10 to 90.
Dude, that is amazing. That is amazing. 10 to 90.
In the Dominican Republic. Come on.
I gotta get. Well, I'm gonna reach out to Jorge, man. I gotta get Jorge to talk about his experience, but also that too, man. Because that is insane, man. I've never heard of that. I've heard of 80 to 90, 90 to 100, but 10 to 90. Dang. Who was his NCO? When he was in. I mean, someone really set him up for failure.
No, the same happened to me, bro. I got out at what they put me out at 20%, I believe. I was at 10 or 20%. My NCOs didn't give me nothing. It was like, yo, you're gonna go out with what you got, because they even want me to get med boarded. They try to take my med board away. But you know what I did? You know what I did? When I was active, I just stayed quiet, listen to them give their buddies advice. People talk about this. I didn't ask the question, just stayed quiet, took my notes. Once I got out, it's like, all right, we could play.
Yeah. Thankfully, man, I had this E7 that pulled me to a side when I was about a year and a half out from getting out. He was like, look, man, this is what you need to do. And I came out at 90. So it could definitely work in your favor, man. Definitely work in your favor. But I ain't gonna keep you, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Thank you so much, man, for coming on, man. We're gonna make sure we do this again. All right, we're gonna do it again, all right?
Prophet, me, just you know where to find me anytime.
What we'll do, man. We'll do, man. So take care of yourself, and we'll talk again soon. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a good night.
All right, brother. All right, peace, brother.
Later.
You too.